I want to welcome Rob Soper from EagleView. He's going to be talking about storm season success, how JobTread and EagleView can empower contractors. Really excited about this. Rob, appreciate you coming and spending a little bit of time with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for the invite, and it's always good to speak to the crowd out there. So thanks everybody for participating today.
Yeah. Before we hop into it, though, just a quick reminder, everyone, if you're not part of our JobTread Pros Facebook group, this is a great place to be able to get resources, have lots of ongoing discussions about JobTread, about construction, about business, whatever it may be. Definitely get in there. Love to have you participating with the community. We've also got builder stories. This is my weekly podcast that we publish a new episode. How builders, contractors, how they've gotten started, the lessons they've learned along the way, the challenges, everything about their journey. Great way to learn from others, learn from their experience. Tune into that. We publish every Wednesday morning. And we've got our boot camps. So we've got an upcoming boot camp actually later this week here, May 22nd to the 23rd. We'll have another one at the end of June, one in July, but this is a great way for all of those who are newer to JobTread. If you want to come down to Dallas, Texas, it's a 2-day, full in-person workshop, hands-on training. We will walk you through the very beginning, all the way from zero to hero. By the time you leave, we've got all of your meals are included. Got a nice happy hour in our office. Get to meet all the team, see the behind-the-scenes action. Great way to get up and running very, very quickly with JobTread. And we have officially announced JobTread Connect. You've got the save the date here, January 14th to the 16th. We actually started selling tickets a few weeks ago as well. So really excited about this. We've done this for, I guess this will be our 4th year. I think Rob, you guys have been out there a couple times too. Like, it's a great place, great time, for you at the beginning of every year to come out. Spend some time really diving into your business, learning from other contractors. You get to meet a ton of our vendors, sponsors, partners. It's just an all-around awesome event. Get really jazzed up for the year. Hopefully hit the ground running.
Yeah, and I'll second that, Eric. It was probably one of the best and most informative events that I've been to out there. You guys did a fantastic job.
I appreciate that. Got a lot of really exciting, lot of exciting speakers this year coming up. Got a few surprises up our sleeve as well. So definitely stay tuned for more information about that. All right. So without further ado, I want to turn it over here to Rob. Welcome, Rob.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Hey, everybody. My name's Rob Soper from EagleView. I'm in the business development team. I've been with EagleView for coming up on 8 years now, actually. And I come from the roofing industry, so I've been involved since I was a kid, actually hand nailing shingles on roofs and working for a shingle manufacturer for about 15 years as well, and I find myself in technology, which is a great place to be. I mean, the industry has evolved dramatically. From literally hand nailing and no compressors all the way to flying airplanes and measuring roofs, which is a pretty cool technology. But I always like to start with just a little bit of history about EagleView, just a little quick EagleView 101, because not a lot of people are especially in the roofing industry, understand that we generate roof reports with measurements, but they don't understand how we do it. And I think that's really the coolest piece of it. We've been around for 20 plus years. We have 130 airplanes or more, just depending on what's operational on any given day. And we fly those airplanes basically at low to mid altitude, anywhere from 3,000 to about 12,000 feet, with our own proprietary camera systems mounted on the bottom. And we capture super high resolution imagery, not only from the top down, like you would see from satellite, but from oblique angles. So the picture on the right there, you see that house. Because we're capturing all these images from not just the top but the sides, we can see the elevations, we can see the walls, the windows, the doors, in addition to all the things that are on the roof. And that's called oblique imagery. Orthogonal is top down and oblique is from the sides. What's good about that is our software that we use to measure the roofs uses both the oblique and the ortho images in combination with each other to be able to get ultra precise measurements, and we're generally accurate down to the inch, 1 to 2 inch in any linear direction on the roof measurements, and that means a lot when you're measuring roofs and building materials are going up and you want to get it right. We We have tremendous scale. So we've last year, I think we hit our record of 49,000 roof reports generated in a single day, servicing both the commercial construction space as well as our insurance carrier customers as well. And we've got hundreds of international and domestic patents that cover our intellectual property. So, and bottom line, we're in construction, solar, government infrastructure. There's a lot of things that EagleView does outside of the commercial space, but they all tie in together. Really, we're an imagery company, and we use that imagery to really deliver world-class results to our customers, which is super interesting. On the roofing side, roofing and construction side, our primary products are our residential construction reports. You can see the top down and the oblique or the elevation photographs there on the right hand side. So any measurement, anything that we can see with our airplanes and our imagery, we can actually measure that through our software. Commercial low slope construction reports, solar solutions, insurance. We've launched a new product line called Property Data, where we're running some machine learning models on our own imagery to derive not just structure assets, but environmental assets like yards and fences and pools and things like that. And I know, Eric, a lot of JobTread users are pool contractors and things like that. So there's a lot out there for everybody. And stay tuned for more from JobTread and EagleView. We've got a great roadmap structured, and we're looking forward to not only growing the relationship, but delivering better results for our customers out there. Yeah, so the EagleView integration, Eric, I don't you want to start here
Yeah.
if you want to take over from here and actually go through it.
Yeah, so as Rob was saying, I mean, like the amount of data that they have collected over the years is just like tremendous. And so, where we wanted to start was really with this aerial imagery and being able to, allow you to directly order the EagleView reports, right from JobTread, right there on the home dashboard. I'll show you that here in a second. But just really providing that seamless experience so that you can, create that job, send out the request for the report. As soon as it comes back, it's automatically uploaded to the job. And then you're able to go in there and pull in all of the measurement data directly into the JobTread budget, into the parameters. And so when you've already set up your formulas in your templates that will automatically do the material takeoff, calculate, everything that you need, it's pulling in all of that measurement data seamlessly from these EagleView reports. I saw we already had a question here from Thomas. He was asking, are there plans to be able to pull in existing premium EagleView reports and plug it into the parameters by uploading it? It said right now you're having to manually do it. Thomas, as long as the address matches exactly, you can access your existing EagleView reports. So the key is making sure that the address on the job and JobTread matches exactly what is on the EagleView report in your EagleView account. And so that should immediately give you access to all of those reports so that you can seamlessly pull in all of that parameter data.
Yeah, and it's not just the PDF report that you can pull in, it's the XML data, with the
Yeah.
full list of attributes that go in there.
Yep. So I guess follow-up question. So they are paid for and provided by one of our trade partners, not us. So I guess, does that mean it's in the trade partners account?
And probably, I would say if it's in the trade partners account, then you couldn't do that. Although you could get the XML, for instance, from the trade partner and upload it in there. But yeah, if it's not in your own EagleView account, then you would have to get access it from your trade partner.
Yeah. So, just so you know, Thomas, I mean, we're not marking up any of the costs or anything like that. So like, I mean, there's really, you're getting that same, same price that, that you would get right there on EagleView through JobTread. So yeah, so this is the integration, kind of how it works.
Yep. And I'll jump back in here. So we were talking about hail season, right? And it's right around the corner. You guys have been, especially down in Dallas, you've been getting slammed with hail already this year, and all across the Midwest. I think yesterday was another big day. But this map is from 2024, and it's basically an insurance underwriter's risk heat map, and you can see where the hailstorms are from very high in the hot red down to gray or no risk. in Alaska, where there's not a lot of hail out there. But if you're in those areas, yeah, you know about it. If you're not in those areas, you're not familiar with hailstorms, and catastrophic events. Uh, it's a little different, but we take this slide and then overlay it also with the tornado risk. And obviously tornado, many of the tornado producing or storms that produce tornadoes are producing significant hail along with them. But really the bottom line when you come here uh, is really understanding what the opportunity is and what we need to do to put the communities back together. I mean, it's one of the cool things about being in the construction industry is you're really from a storm perspective, you're helping people put their lives back together again. I mean, houses are damaged or destroyed completely, and contractors, not just roofers, but contractors from the ground up, are really helping the community. Really, I'm just going to hit everyone, but these are some top tips for storm season. Really establishing your territory, what you do before the storm and what you do after the storm. So if you're already established in a market, or you're looking to establish a roofing company or a restoration company inside of a hail market where you haven't been before, you really need to understand not only your territory, but you also have to understand those previous slides, where the hail is. And we also see over time that those maps are getting redder and redder. I mean, we see just trending atmospheric events are producing larger scale hail and more frequent hail and tornadoes across a lot of these areas. But you have to understand and really get established inside of your territory. Bottom line on this one, in the established one, build core partnerships with your cities, county, and insurance carriers and suppliers. That's critical. I know with JobTread, they're establishing or they're building out the integrations with the suppliers out there as well. So not only can you integrate your EagleView report with JobTread and pull the data right in, build that estimate, but then you'll be able to order your materials right from JobTread. And knowing which suppliers are using those integrations, like that's super important to have your relationships built there. I know the distributor relationships are super important. You can't, you want to be first in line when material starts getting short in a hailstorm area, and you do that by really leveraging those relationships that are out there. You do that when you're establishing your territory. You also do it when before the storm season really hits, making sure your staffing is squared away, making sure you're prepared to run those leads and manage that storm. And then once the storm hits, quickly identifying those hail affected areas. And there's a lot of tools out there that will help you with weather, not only prediction, but weather event tracking, hailstorm, and then historical data that's overlaid. That really help you identify and drill into those areas where you can see big opportunity. And then on the marketing side, really start driving your referral engine and getting out there on the marketing side. And ultimately, we want to drive project compression, because in hail or storm restoration events, the faster you get to the house, the faster you process that job, the better you're going to close and the quicker you're going to get to the next job. And you do that through technology. I mean, you can't be in business today and be successful in business from what I've seen without deploying the technology that's out there through JobTread, through EagleView. You can do remote estimating, remote selling, remote closing, and every step in the process that you save time allows you to deploy those resources onto other revenue producing jobs. Your salespeople become more efficient, your production crews become more efficient, and your collections becomes more efficient. You can go from lead to collections in weeks less by leveraging the technology that's out there. It's super important because your competitors are doing it. If you're here on this webinar and you don't have JobTread as your platform, you've come to the right place to learn about it for sure. But it's a way to be competitive and keep ahead of the competition.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so
Just
go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna again want to reiterate, like we see every day like the impact of being able to have JobTread connected to EagleView and how it's really streamlining the entire process. That is the number one thing that we find is people are winning more deals because they're the first to respond. They're getting the answers back. They're answering, what is it going to cost? Like getting that information to the homeowner and being easy to work with, providing a great customer experience. I mean, that is the name of the game here. I just from my own personal experience right now, we are working on, getting some quotes to get some to get our roof replaced. And we've called a couple contractors who are not JobTread and a couple that are JobTread. And it's so crazy that like we can't get an answer back from the people who don't have the right tools and technology set up to be able to deliver those estimates very, very quickly. And so again, I encourage you all to think about your processes, your systems. How can you streamline your operations? Because that is going to help you to be able to take on more jobs and to be able to, grow the business in a very scalable, profitable manner.
Yeah, Eric, you hit the nail on the head. So like when I look at this slide and coming across all these categories, sales estimating, project management, job finances, and customer experience, everything that JobTread offers covers every one of these categories. It's start to finish business process. And you really, I mean, you lose effectiveness when you have to jump out of JobTread to do something else. That's why like the integration with EagleView has so much value, because projects start with measurements. In the old days, you had to go to the house and climb the roof and measure it by hand. And that took hours. It costs a lot of money to roll a truck across town to do these things, and you're just smoothing out the entire process and saving time and money all the time. Money's important. Time's more important in storms, because you got to get there quickly. But from the front end, your sales and estimating platform, you can take in the data right at the lead stage, and be prepared with a final estimate before you even get to interact with the homeowner. And that's how you're going to close these jobs. Because somebody's got a damaged house, it might be leaking, it might have roof shingles off. They need a solution, and they need it fast. They can't wait for days for an estimate or things like that to happen. They really need to close the door on this thing, and really leveraging the technology is super important. And then once you roll into project management, I mean, if you're a contractor that's got multiple crews and you're trying to do this on whiteboard or spreadsheets or Word documents, good luck with that. Good luck making sure everything stays on track and stays on schedule. And that ties into the customer experience on the back end. You want those referrals as well. There's nothing better than a repeat customer or a customer that's referred you from a happy customer. I live in a neighborhood. We have 18 houses on my street. I literally at lunch today, one of my neighbors said, "Hey, who just had their house painted? Anybody have any referrals?" And literally within 5 minutes, probably a half a dozen of my neighbors had already referred two different painting contractors to everybody on the street who had had something done in the past couple of days. And that's that's super important. You can't underestimate the value of that. And you can't ignore the job finances as well. So all your job costing, I know that's huge in JobTread. I would say, from my perspective, JobTread, you guys really have an advantage because of your job costing process. And it's not just an estimate, it's really literally job costing, and how you guys build it out is really unique to JobTread. And I think it's super valuable to anybody in the construction industry. So super good. But there's, when you examine your business and you look at all of the leaky spots that are, time leaks on there from every step in your process. If you're doing things manually or hopping out of the platform to go do something, that costs you minutes or hours or days in some cases. And when you look at the overall timeline, you can go from, 6 weeks from lead to collections to 4 weeks, to 2 weeks, and you're closing closing bids within hours, and you're putting jobs on within days, and you're collecting, within a short few weeks, and that's success right there. That's really, really meaningful. So Eric, I'm going to hand it back over to you so you can roll through the demo.
Awesome. Yep. So I'm going to switch over here. This is just a demo community that we've got set up. One of the newer neat features you've got now the ability to create whatever custom dashboards, reports, things like that. So won't go into that today, but definitely check that out if you're in JobTread or you hadn't gotten in there yet. You can go build those out. But today we're going to go over here. We're just going to create a new job. I'm just going to go do it over here. So again, you get to completely customize whatever questions, whatever details you want to collect for each job. You can set those up as custom fields. Again, just going to skip right over that for right now. We're going to just get into the job. But the first thing that you're going to do for each job, is typically going to come over here and we're going to build out our budget. And so this is where, we really encourage you to leverage templates. So if you've already set up, a template in your catalog, or you could go pull from one of our, our global catalog there. Once you do that, once you add that and pull that into the job, you're going to see that all of the formulas, everything for this job has already been set up and is ready, to be estimated there. Now, again, through this integration with EagleView, we're going to go back over here and we're going to, right here, we're going to manage EagleView reports. And this is where you can directly order those reports. So as I mentioned earlier, though, if you already have a report, in your EagleView account, you're going to see those that are already going to pull up, they'll be available to you here. But we'll show kind of when you come in, you click plus order. This is going to allow you to choose, which report you want to order. There's a lot of different ones that we support. I think Rob's has shared kind of the bid perfect and the premium. Residential are probably the two most popular. I definitely think this the premium residential is really seems to be the go-to for what we're seeing. But obviously all of these are available to. They have different sets of measurement data with them, so you can pick whichever one you want. Choose the delivery. If you want some additional details here, any add-ons that are available to you, you can pick all of that. And then basically you're going to go through and you're going to place your order. Now I've already ordered, so we're going to just come over instead. I'm just going to hit add to job. And so, again, if you were to have ordered that report, then it would essentially, once it was ready, it would automatically drop into the job right here. So as you can see, this report is now available to me. And so all of that, full-blown report, all of the details, are right here at your fingertips, just automatically uploaded to the job, which is really neat and helpful. But I think even more awesome is when you actually go in and you can then pull the measurement data. So as soon as that report is available, you can hit right here, click on the measurement, and this is pulling out all of that available measurement data directly from that report and is going to import it into JobTread as parameters. So if for whatever reason, you didn't want everything, you could just pick and choose which ones you wanted, or if you wanted to rename it or change the parameter name, you could do that as well. If we already had some sort of value in some of these parameters, like you would actually kind of see a little indicator and you could hover over and see what's there versus what is going to be pulled in. So if you had kind of done some other preliminary estimate, you would be able to compare it. But I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to hit import, and then back over in the budget. This is where we're now going to see that based on all of the parameter data, with these formulas here, we have automatically calculated all of the different line item quantities that we need for this roof. I can open up the parameters, and again, that's where all that data directly came into, is available right here. And so, once we've got that, we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to hit save, and then that's going to allow me to very quickly just come over and I'm going to generate a proposal. I'm going to, plus document, click on the proposal. These are all different templates that you can have set up, and they can just kind of have different settings or different, content, descriptions, footers. The design could be tweaked as well. But again, the neat thing is that this is already set up where we've got, a nice little picture. This could be the actual home, or, if you have kind of your own marketing, imagery there, you could add whatever additional marketing content, materials there, and then we have the details. And so, I'm not a big fan of, giving a breakdown of every single thing, So it's totally up to you though. If you wanted to share, all of that detail, you could. If you want to kind of break it out even further, you're able to do that. However much detail you want to get into, you're able to share that. But then the other neat thing is that you can give the homeowner the ability to make selections. So again, this is kind of giving them the good, better, best model, right? Do we want, the good, the better, the best shingles? And so they can go through and they can make their selections, and that's going to essentially, help them kind of control the cost. If they're looking at these luxury shingles and they're like, I didn't want to spend over 50K, cool, then they can just kind of downgrade it. So now we're right under 49,000. This gives them that ability to go through, kind of check it all out, look at all the photos, whatever you've attached, and all the resources and materials you can provide that there. If you wanted to provide additional links, to more information or even upload videos, you can do that. But we also have the built-in homeowner financing, so that will, again, based on kind of whatever selections they make, they're going to see an estimate of what that monthly payment would be if they're going to finance it. This is a great way to just, again, upsell, to hopefully kind of get some larger, premium selections made. But once they're ready to go through the rest of the terms, conditions, you can put in whatever content you want here. You could directly edit it on this job if you need, and then you can collect the customer signature. You can collect one or multiple signatures. Some states you need to have all of the property owners. So we allow you to do all of that, and so again, with just very little effort, we're able to pull in our budget template. We're able to get all of the measurement data directly into JobTread, and we can now send this out and we can collect that signed customer order.
Eric, how long does it take for you to get somebody set up and rolling?
It's a great question. I think it really depends on the, kind of the size of the company. How much time do you have to devote up front to get everything rolling? If you can spend, an hour a day for, a week, 2 weeks, you should be able to get going pretty quickly. We do provide a lot of access, to various templates, to different information, so over here in this global catalog, you can see we provide multiple different templates that are available to you that you can pull into your organization. You can customize them from there. But it really kind of depends on how much time, you have to spend up front kind of getting it all set up. If you're switching from another software, it's often a lot easier because you've already kind of built out some of these templates. You've got scheduled templates, budget templates, things like that. If you're brand new to software, realistically, it might take you a little bit longer to kind of put together kind of all the budget templates. Knowing your numbers is so important, but I see a lot of contractors who really struggle to have all of that information easily available. If you've got it in spreadsheets, CSVs, we can import whatever you've got. But the people who haven't used software before, it does take a little bit longer. But yeah, so, again, I mean, like I was telling you about the schedule, I think this is, again, having these templates available to you right here. We could very quickly pull in this one, say we're just going to have the start date be, well, we'll start it today. That's going to import that whole schedule, however much detail you want to go into. We give you all of that, very, very, very quick and easy to pull this in and customize it for your business.
And I mean, that would take hours if you had to do that manually and tried to, build it on a spreadsheet, just to, even just grab a template. That's one thing. Like I have a demo account, and I would say I'm a pretty novice JobTread user, but I found it pretty simple to go ahead and grab the roofing template and order the measurements and pull it in there. It's a very simple process. And I mean, yeah, I guess you all take it in bite-sized chunks and identify the areas that the contractor needs the most help with first, and then, then start deploying that. But I think that's, I mean, your boot camps and even your JobTread Connect, experience, I think really builds on the knowledge base that's out there for you guys.
Absolutely. And we're excited about the partnership, that we've got with you all to continue bringing more innovative ways that we can leverage all of the data, that you all have there to further, enhance this whole experience. Because I think it is a tremendous opportunity to leverage the data to help us create the best possible experience for not only the contractor, but for the end user as well.
Yeah, and I would say standardization is super important too. Doing this, being repeatable. It's just like McDonald's. Like you buy a cheeseburger here, you're in Denver or in Dallas or Tokyo, it's the same cheeseburger. They do it exactly the same way. And because of that, they optimize their solutions. I mean, we know across the board that only about 1 in 5 jobs has an EagleView report on it from contractors. So some contractors don't order it sometimes. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do for a complicated job, but not for a simple job. But even missing those steps slows your entire process down because somebody downstream needs the data and they don't have it because you didn't order it that time. I mean, having that process where everything is completely repeatable, make sure not only your processes move more quickly, but your production is better, and at the end, your customer experience is better because just no balls get dropped,
Yeah.
and that's, you can see right across the board how simple it is once you get it set up to do
Yep.
this.
Absolutely. So see, we got a question here from Adam. So Adam was asking, I do multifamily work with multiple buildings on the same address. Will this still integrate?
So from EagleView's perspective, Adam, well, if you use a sitemap or you order the select addresses or buildings, that will come back into JobTread. Eric, I think that's one of the things I think we need to work on is the sitemap function because there's a lot of multifamily contractors out there. It can be done on myeagleview.com, and I think that'll be the next thing. But you can assign the multiple jobs from a single address to different buildings, just like Eric is showing you here. So you can take that and you could import just like he was showing you earlier. So if a job is already in your account, you could go ahead and import each one of those buildings by job number into JobTread. So
Yep.
yeah, so the answer is yes, it will integrate.
What other questions does everyone have? Uh, I can't wait to get it set up. Awesome. Yeah, it's super neat, super fast, and I think too, just like what Rob was saying, I mean, being able to, again, directly collect the signature here, we can send that off to the proposal, send that off to the customer, they can pull it up, with a couple clicks, they're able to make their selections, sign it right there. You can see in real time what's happening. I think some people probably think this might be a little creepy, but again, email sent, email delivered. So as soon as I open it up, over on my email, you're going to see when they open the email. So it does have some of that tracking in place to kind of help give you that additional insight, about what the homeowner is doing when they view your proposal, when they send it. There's a lot of ways that can kind of give you signals that you should go and follow up. So I'll come over here and I'll show you what this email looks like. Actually, it's not letting me drag it up there, but basically, you can see the email is open. So when I click view proposal, this is what the homeowner is going to see. It's going to take them directly to to that proposal. If you had attached any plans, drawings, documents, kind of any additional information, you could attach that directly to the proposal. That would show up over here. But again, homeowner gets to come through. I had already kind of pre-selected, but let's say maybe they want to go with the luxury ones instead. Let's upgrade it there. Coming in, you're going to do the signature, approve it, and then back over in JobTread on the contractor side. This job's now been approved. We've got kind of all the details, everything that has happened is all right there. And then back over in the budget, we're going to see exactly, what was approved. And so we will then have an approved budget, for that. Obviously I didn't include anything on building B, so that wasn't in there, but they've made the luxury shingles, all of the details right there. At this point, you're probably just going to go through and most people would collect, some sort of deposit, something up front. However you're going to do it, if you're going through insurance, kind of, working out the payment schedule and the terms there, really easy. But you can go through here, new document. Let's just in the instance that they're, homeowners paying directly, we collect a deposit. Let's just say we want to get 10% or maybe we'll get 20%, up front. That's going to allow you to very quickly send out that detail so that you can show, kind of exactly what we've collected for so far. I changed it to building A, but normally that would, kind of say the other details there. But this lets you kind of just share again, however much information you want to share with them, so that you can have, that proposal, that invoice, collecting all that ACH credit card payment directly through here. Other than the invoicing, you can also do your POs, for all the materials. So maybe I want to create maybe I just want to look at all of the, kind of view all of the material here. We can see every single piece of material that needs to go into this job. That would allow me to very quickly, if I had ordered through, SRS, we've got that integration where you can pull the real-time pricing availability. We're working on getting the ordering piece in there. Also working with Beacon to get that set up. But again, all of the job costing, everything from a financial aspect, you're able to do and manage right here in the job and in the budget, and it's all connected. I would also encourage people though to use, the daily logs, the photos, files, like archiving all of this information in one place is so powerful. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard contractors that say, the homeowner, comes back later and says, oh, you guys screwed this up or whatever. Like, take the photos before, during, and after the project and save all of that in one spot. And if you're on your mobile device, you just open up the JobTread app. You can directly from the app, go right in there. If I'm just sitting, right on this job here, we could actually just take a photo, directly from the, from the mobile app, and that's going to show up right there in the job. So I'll actually just take one here of this, here's my office or whatever. But you'll see that will come right in here, uploaded to JobTread, to the project, so that you could very quickly go in there, kind of capture everything. Even more interesting. Let's say, I'm sitting here on the project, but I really want to point something out. Like, you can mark up all this stuff, save it. It's all right there, instantly, kind of going back and forth, so your guys out in the field can communicate back with the team. Even if you are taking plans, things like that, you can even take the EagleView report and start marking that up and kind of do some on-screen takeoff if you needed to. If you wanted to calculate, whatever, some sort of dimension or something, like, maybe they want to do some add-on or something in the backyard. Like, there's so much horsepower that you have right here within JobTread that will help you continue to build out and manage your business in a much more scalable fashion.
Yeah, Eric, that's awesome. And for those who are ready to sign up for JobTread, EagleView will throw in your first 3 EagleView reports for free, so you can enable the integration and test out the entire process and just see how fast it goes.
Yep. So to do that, right over here on the integration tile, we're going to go find EagleView right here. You got the little how-to video that we've kind of walked through, but this kind of gives you. We added some permissions. I forgot a couple weeks ago. Where it's like, hey, who do you want to allow to be able to purchase reports? I think we initially rolled it out where just the admins could purchase, but some people said they wanted additional people on their team to be able to do it. But pretty quick and easy. You just basically click the connect account, log in. That's all it takes.
Yep.
All right. What other questions? See what other questions we got from anyone out there in the audience. I'm curious to see, who all's already connected this integration. If those of you out there are using JobTread, have you connected this already? What feedback would you share? Or anyone who's not yet using it, are you interested in getting it set up? See, Adam says he can't wait to get it set up. Awesome. Happy to help you. I know, Rob, one of the questions we do often get, are there, are there certain reports that are available that might, that they can order through EagleView that aren't, yet supported in JobTread? I know we're continuing to kind of add additional reports, like we were talking earlier about, like the drone reports, like we don't yet have that integrated. Are there other, other report types that, that aren't there, that, that you guys see that we need to get added?
Well, I would say your list is pretty exhaustive on the report side, and what's coming up is True Design, which is basically our digital delivery. So you take a PDF and turn that into a truly 3D digital experience, or where you can not just get the XML or the PDF, the static document or the data in there. On top of that, you can actually interact with the 3D model and then select different facets, understand the environment around it, and then export that data from, specific selections on the roof into the your job templates already. So that's something that's again, stay tuned. We've got a working session in June with the JobTread team. We're going to be down there in a few weeks. And we're going to hammer out some of these work priorities. But I will tell you, for everybody in the audience, I've never seen a team that works faster than JobTread. I mean, the last time I didn't know that you had all the permissions in there. And it was just a few weeks ago that I was in here and didn't see that. That's how, like, these guys, JobTread, you guys are incredible. How quickly you move on the development side. Super
that.
impressive.
Yeah, so I see we have, so Matt here was saying the EagleView template is very different from ours. Is it easy to link the parameters? Great question. So, again, the key is that all of the parameters, the names match. That's the easiest way. And so if you actually come over to the help desk and just search for EagleView, I believe we've got so here's kind of again that same video, how it works. So here are the different report types. And so you can see right here all of the different parameters. You're going to be able to see exactly what the names are, and then also what the what unit they're using. And so when you're setting up your formulas and your budget templates, be sure to use the exact name of the measurement that's going to come from EagleView, and that's how it'll just seamlessly drop right in. If the names don't quite match, then you would have to, basically, customize it. So I definitely suggest doing that. No, Matt, the parentheses, that's not going to be in the name. That's just kind of telling you what the unit is. Maybe we need to make that a little bit clearer there. But you can see for all of these reports exactly what the parameters are. Right here. All of this is published in our help desk. So you can see this one, what is this? The Windows Doors report. So there's a ton of different data, available to you. The whole house report has also got a ton of different, parameters and information that you're able to get.
Yeah, and I would say the whole house report, I mean, like, that's, if you're a multi-trade contractor, if you're doing roofing, siding, windows, gutters, painting, that whole house report is everything you need.
Yeah.
Grab it, and you can, it gives you the opportunity to cross-sell and upsell across all of your trades at every job.
Yep. Yeah. So we can just kind of come back in one more time to reiterate. So if we open up, all of this detail here, we can see these parameters are being used in the formulas. And so that's why you just want to make sure that it all matches up and it'll seamlessly create those. You can also kind of see exactly where they're referenced if you ever need to go in there, which things aren't referenced and which aren't used. But that's the key, is kind of making sure the parameters are all automatically set up in that same fashion over in your catalog. All right. Any other questions, y'all? Got a few more minutes here. I'd also say ChatGPT is surprisingly good at helping you build out your formulas too. Obviously, trust but verify, or maybe actually don't trust and verify with AI these days. But that is a great way to kind of, if you want to get some help building formulas, if you tell it, hey, here are all the parameters, like, you can literally just copy paste that parameter list into ChatGPT and say, hey, build out a budget template, help me do the material takeoff, calculating, based on the measurement dimensions, how many, of each material you'll need. It often can help you kind of get started there. All right. Let's see. I think that was all we had today.
That's awesome.
Well, we appreciate everybody coming out, learning a little bit more. Like Rob said, if you're new to setting up the JobTread integration, you do get your first 3 reports. Those will be free. Love for you to try it out. You maybe try it out on a couple different reports as well. But if you ever need any help, any assistance with any of this, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team, either your customer success manager or directly to our support team. We're all fairly well versed on this and how the integration works. If there's ever any situation where we need to get the EagleView team in place, they've been awesome to work with, very, very responsive. We can get you quick answers there too. But again, we're really excited about the possibilities of this. Rob, you and your team have been awesome to work with. Appreciate
Thanks,
you bringing I think a pretty large group down to our office here in Dallas, Texas, the next couple weeks. We're really excited to continue to brainstorm, how we can bring more and more innovative, data-driven solutions to the market to make this an even better, even stronger integration.
Yep. Thanks, Eric. Looking forward to it.
All righty. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.